New federal charges connected to fraud in Minnesota this time. It's $14 million stolen from a program that's supposed to help kids with autism.
Investigative reporter Ryan Race first exposed the extent of the problem this summer, and he's on top of this major development tonight.
Federal prosecutors say this involved fake bills, unqualified employees, and monthly kickbacks to families to keep them enrolled. All of it to the tune of $14 million, and all of it going undetected by the state for years. Tonight, the first shoe has dropped in the federal investigation of Minnesota's autism program. Months after the FBI raided Smart Therapy, prosecutors are now charging its owner, Asha Farhan Hassan, for her role in what they describe as a $14 million autism fraud scheme. U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson hinted at the charges coming last week.
As many of you know, Minnesota is drowning in fraud.
According to the charging documents, Hassan worked with others to recruit families from the Somali community, whether kids had autism or not. Prosecutors write that there was no child that Smart Therapy was not able to get qualified for autism services. Then, to drive up enrollment, they paid monthly kickbacks to families between $300 to $1,500 per child. Prosecutors say Hassan and her partners paid for it all through the millions worth of fraudulent Medicaid claims.
She knows she's guilty. She wants to make it right.
Hassan's attorney, Ryan Pasiga, says his client is cooperating with investigators in plans to plead guilty.
Asha Hassan's someone who, in her heart, wanted to start businesses for the right reasons. But nonetheless, Asha knew at some point that the fraud began, and she let it continue on for a while.
Did your client ever actually provide real autism services?
Yes, there were real services provided, but it was at a fraction of what was billed for.
Do you know if Asha will be able to pay back the $14 million?
No, who could?
According to prosecutors, Hassan sent hundreds of thousands of fraud proceeds abroad, some of it used to purchase real estate in Kenya. And it's not just the autism program. Hassan is also charged in the Feeding Our Future case.
Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by. So all credit goes to the creators in these videos, guys. Oh, you're not ready for the story. In today's video, so a woman named Asha Hassan appeared to be running a legitimate business in healthcare field. Now in 2019, she founded this Smart Therapy company, a company that claimed to provide applied behavior analysis, therapy for children with autism, right? Specialized treatments designed to help children develop maybe social, emotional, cognitive skills, all those things now. So on paper, the company looked like, promising, resource for families, and it was approved under the Early Intensive Developmental and Behavioral Intervention Program. Now, this was a Medicaid-funded initiative meant to provide medically necessary services to children with autism. Families, doctors, and the government trusted that the company would deliver crucial care. Guys, according to federal prosecutors now, what happened behind the scenes was far more than they expected. Instead of delivering therapy, Hassan and her partners enrolled children who never received services. They submitted millions of dollars in fraudulent claims and created false documentation to make it all appear real. Y'all know her nationality already. She's a Somali. Now, parents were drawn into the scheme with monthly cash kickbacks, sometimes ranging from $300 to $1,500 per child, simply for enrolling their children in the program. Now, their staff were underqualified, their sessions were never conducted, and the children received no real therapy. And yet, the company continued to bill Medicaid as if the services were provided. Make it make sense. Now, this deception extended beyond autism therapy. Now, Hassan also enrolled Smart Therapy in a federal child nutrition program designed to provide meals to children during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, authorities said that she claimed to serve up to 1,200 meals a day. Those meals were never delivered. Guys, prosecutors are saying that the result of her action resulted in about $40 million Medicaid payments and nearly $465,000 in child nutrition reimbursement, because what should have been a source of support and care turned into financial gain at the expense of those that need it. Oh my goodness, guys. Like, when I read this story, when I watched it, I'm like, how exactly do people sleep at night doing something of this magnitude? How do they sleep and close their eyes and dream sweet dreams at night? Guys, have you heard this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's see what the other creators have to say, and I'll see you soon.
Her name, Asha Hassan. You may remember the name. She was the very first defendant charged with defrauding Minnesota's publicly funded autism care program. We were at the U.S. District Courthouse this morning as she entered her guilty plea on a single count of wire fraud.
Hey, we got no comments today.
Asha, anything you want to say?
She and her attorneys here would not comment on the case, but I do want to break it down for you. Hassan owned a business here known as Smart Therapy LLC. She pleaded guilty in 2 schemes, not just the autism care or EIDBI program, but also she admitted her role in the massive Feeding Our Future child nutrition fraud, in total taking in some $14 million in Medicaid funds, another $450,000 supposedly earmarked to feed hungry children. Prosecutors point out she sent hundreds of thousands of dollars out of this country to Kenya to purchase real estate in her own name.
So, Paul, any idea how many of the charged defendants were involved in multiple schemes like Hassan?
Great question, Kelsey. The U.S. Attorney's Office mentioned about 24 or so Feeding Our Future defendants who were also receiving funding for their supposed autism clinics. And that's how these folks like Hassan got caught. In Hassan's case, her guilty plea includes restitution of nearly $16 million that she owes to the United States government. Lead prosecutor there, Joe Thompson, was asked what the odds are of collecting such a significant amount.
Well, it depends. It's defendant by defendant. We seize assets from many people. If they have money in bank accounts, we're very aggressive in seizing those funds. If they purchase real estate, especially if they purchase it without financing, we're very aggressive in getting that property back, and we can liquidate it and use to pay off. In the Feeding Our Future case, for example, I think we're somewhere between $60 and $70 million that we've recovered. About $30 million of that is cash.
Just some massive numbers being thrown around by Joe Thompson there. Hassan's guilty plea includes a potential prison sentence of about 70 to 87 months, or somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 8 years behind bars. The judge has the ultimate say. He did allow Ms. Hassan to remain free and out of custody until she is formally sentenced coming up at a later date.
Did you hear about the $14 million Medicare scheme that gave a Minneapolis woman enough money to go and buy herself some property in Kenya with taxpayer dollars? Here's what Asha Farhan Hassan did. She got her Somali neighbors in Minneapolis to sign their kid-ups for autism treatments when they didn't even have autism. She then filed Medicare claims that said the kids were receiving treatments, and she gave kickbacks to the families up to $1,500 a month each. She ended up filing like $14 million in fake claims, and she also did another $500,000 in fake food bank claims on a food program. She went nuts with the money, including buying herself real estate in Kenya. Don't you just love paying taxes? Don't you just love it?
Meet Ayan Abukar. Back in 2021, she was getting praised, winning an Outstanding Refugee Entrepreneurship Award out of Minnesota. Today, she is a convicted felon, pleading guilty in a federal court for helping steal money that was supposed to be for feeding hungry children. And I'm telling you right now, this story is a perfect snapshot of when people say there is a serious fraud problem coming out of Minnesota. Now, when COVID hit and government money started flying out the door, prosecutors say that she saw an opportunity. She signed up her nonprofit through Feeding Our Future. And from October 2020 to early 2022, she claimed that her sites in Bloomington, St. Paul, Minneapolis, Savage were feeding over 5,000 children a day. Sites that apparently didn't exist. And the kids didn't exist either. Prosecutors say that she personally pocketed $5.7 million. Prosecutors also say she purchased a 37-acre commercial property in Lakeville. She also purchased a jet in Kenya, and she sent hundreds of thousands of dollars overseas to who knows where. And to keep the whole thing moving smoothly, prosecutors say that she paid a Feeding Our Future employee $330,000 to make her invoices glide through smoothly. Her company, DimeSpeak Enterprise, shared the exact same address as a childcare center that was run by her daughter, and that very same center reportedly had their license revoked. And take a wild guess why. Yep, more fraud. Then in January 2025, she stands in front of a federal court and pleads guilty for conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Sentencing is still pending, but she's facing years in prison. Now the question is, how many times do we have to see money that was meant for children get stolen before anyone actually fixes this pipeline?
Asha Hassan, donning her hijab in court, leaving court, has admitted to defrauding the Minnesota Autism Services of $14 million. Now, in addition, she also defrauded hundreds of thousands of dollars to the child meal program, taking money from children in Minnesota who need to eat. And this is one conviction, just one. One woman is going to plead guilty. One woman did this? No. This doesn't make any sense. So we're going to pin $14 million of fraud on this one woman who's going to admit guilt. I'm not buying it. There's a lot of people involved in that $14 million fraud and the hundreds of thousands of dollars to the child meal program. Why are we not holding the rest accountable? Why is this one woman being the scapegoat for this? And is she even going to get charged? Is she going to get deported? What's going to happen to her? And why is she the only one that's getting charged and convicted of $14 million? She single-handedly stole $14 million in the Autism Services program in Minnesota. No, I'm not buying it.
Guys, what do you think? Because last year, December 2025, Hassan stood before a federal judge, right? And apparently did something towards accountability. She pled guilty to wire fraud, acknowledging her role in defrauding both the state's Medicaid autism program and the federal child nutrition initiative. Now, Hassan was the first defendant, in a broader investigation to formally admit guilt, right? Setting the stage for others that are yet to come. And under this plea agreement, right, she'll be required to pay nearly $16 million in restitution. How is she supposed to get that money from? She cannot. Money that has been siphoned from all these programs meant to serve children's health and nutrition. Now, she faces the possibility of 6 to 7 years in federal prison, although a sentencing has not taken place yet. It will take place in some months, to come. And law enforcement officers have described the actions as betrayal of public trust, which it is, period. Because programs funded by taxpayers exist to protect and support the most vulnerable in the society. And when somebody abuses that trust, guys, the damage extends far beyond numbers on the ledger, because families, children, communities feel this ripple effect. Guys, I feel that this case is just a reminder of how easily trust can be exploited, because what's supposed to be a program designed to support children with autism and provide meals to those in need just became a vehicle for fraud and personal gain. And for this lady, the choices she made is carrying serious consequences. She's going to pay millions in restitution, which I think she cannot pay, or she's going to spend the rest of her years, couple of years behind bars. Guys, it just shows that when public programs are misused, the cost is high, not just financially, but in trust, in integrity, and the well-being of those that the program is meant to serve. Guys, fraud is never worth it, and the choices we make in our daily lives, it can affect the life of others more than we can imagine. Guys, drop your thoughts in the comment section. I really hope that the rest of them that are responsible for this also, these fraudulent activities are brought to justice, because you cannot just sit down somewhere and use your brain, to figure out how you can siphon money, taxpayers' money, people that go to work back to back, have 2-3 jobs just to be able to pay their bills and put food on their table, and you sit down and find a way to skim out and siphon and exploit them of their hard-earned money, and you think the law is not going to catch up with you. You have to be joking. Let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comment section. I really want to hear from you. And if I found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in my next video. Please stay safe. Ciao.